Welcome back to the channel Ipmat by LPT. In line with the lessons on vocabulary, this lesson is designed for one-word substitutions. The title it is given is One Word Wonders, and here we'll have roughly around 50 one-word substitutions. 4 alternatives, we'll be trying to negate the other 3 alternatives and choose and get to the correct alternative here. Let's begin. So the first question is a person who believes that pleasure is the highest good. The 4 alternatives are hedonist, pessimist, optimist and realist. Now let's look at the D alternative, that's realist. Realist is a person who believes in reality, or it is the negative alternative here, it cannot be selected. C alternative is optimistic, someone who sees the positive side of things. B alternative is pessimistic, someone who sees the negative side of things, so sees the darker side of things. A alternative is hedonist, and hedonist is the correct alternative here. Let's hop on to the next question. The next question is one word for the study of birds. 4 alternatives, one is zoology, ornithology, entomology and botany. Now the alternative botany refers to study of plants. Entomology is a study for insects. Ornithology is the correct alternative here, which refers to birds. A alternative, zoology, would refer to study of animals. As the word zoo is also visible here with the word zoology. In zoo what do we see? We see animals. Okay, the third question is a government ruled by few people. 4 alternatives, and here they come: democracy, monarchy, oligarchy and autocracy. The word autocracy would mean government by one. It can be a little synonymous with dictatorship. However, autocracy would be the one when one single person has got absolute power. C alternative, oligarchy, is the correct alternative here, which means government of the few. B alternative, monarchy, refers to rule by a king or a queen. A alternative, democracy, is government of the people by the people, as the quote says. Fourth question is one who eats human flesh. 4 alternatives. The first one is carnivore, second is cannibal, C is omnivore and D is herbivore. Herbivore is one word for a person or an animal which just consumes plants. C alternative, omnivore, is the one who consumes both plants and animals, or human or flesh actually. A alternative is carnivore. Carnivore just consumes animals, or I would just say like it is non-vegetarian to be specific. B alternative, cannibal, is the correct alternative here, as I believe most of you are able to guess the alternative correct. Let's hop on to the next question. The next question is a book published after the author's death. First option is biography. Biography is when someone's life is depicted and like made into a form of a book. B is posthumous. Posthumous is the correct alternative. I see Tamanna replying the correct alternative. Posthumous is made out of 2 words. One is post, the other one is humus. The word post would generally, like, it refers to something after a period of time. C alternative is autobiography, when someone writes about his own life on his own, is an autobiography. D alternative is contemporary. Contemporary would mean something which exists in the same era. So let's suppose if I say Mahatma Gandhi and B.R. Ambedkar were contemporaries of each other, would mean both of them existed in the same part of time. The 6th question here is fear of confined spaces. The correct alternative is claustrophobia, which has the root word phobia, which is fear. And the other alternatives, if we see, agoraphobia would mean fear of something which is unknown. C alternative, acrophobia, is fear of heights. D alternative is xenophobia, fear of unknown or something that is strange, or if it is a person, it is stranger. 7th question is a speech given without preparation. 4 alternatives: rehearsed, impromptu, deliberate and calculated. Now, the correct alternative here would be impromptu. The other alternatives are vague. If I say deliberate, deliberate is something which is done carefully. Calculated would be something which is measured and then something is delivered. Rehearse is something which is to be delivered and which has got practiced, like which is practiced once or twice. There's a similar word to impromptu, and that is, what could be the similar word with impromptu? Can I see replies? Okay. I give this as homework to you. There is an alternative. There is a similar word of impromptu, which you can reply in comments. And the first letter of this word is P. The next question here is a one-word substitution for one who speaks many languages. Okay. The first alternative is bilingual. Something written in 2 languages. Multilingual would be something which is there in multiple languages. As you would see on the currency notes of India, you see that there are different languages written. C alternative is polyglot. Polyglot is the correct alternative. Why not multilingual? Multilingual would be something which is written or expressed in multiple languages. On the contrary, the word polyglot is the most appropriate here. The word poly would refer to many, and glot, this word compositely polyglot would mean the correct alternative here. D is linguist, someone who studies languages. Let's hop on to the next question. The next question says the killing of one's own father. 4 alternatives. The first one is matricide, patricide, suicide and homicide. Okay, Tamanna. The first one is matricide. Matricide is killing of one's own mother. The root word side is for killing. Second alternative is patri, which refers to father. That's the correct alternative. Suicide is killing one own self. Homicide is killing the other person. Any person who's available, any other person, if he is killed, homicide is used. Next is a remedy of all diseases. 4 alternatives: medicine, antidote, panacea and vaccine. Let's hear from Tamanna. Okay, the first alternative is medicine. Medicine is something which is recommended as something to subdue a disease and ailment. B option is antidote. Yes, Tamanna. C alternative is correct. Panacea is the word which is said to be cure of all diseases. In Hindi, you might have heard about the word Ramban. Ramban is the Hindi translation of the word panacea. D alternative, vaccine, would refer to a cure, or as you would have heard about corona as vaccine. The vaccine is a cure which has certain elements of the disease itself with the same bacteria and stuff. Okay, 11th alternative, one who pretends to be what he is not. The first alternative is hypocrite, impostor, actor and pretender. Someone who pretends to be what he is not. Okay, Tamanna has given the correct reply. Impostor is the word. Impostor is used for someone who in garb of the other person tries to pretend or someone who is stealing the identity of different person. Alternative is hypocrite. Hypocrite is someone who says something and does something else. C is actor. D is pretender, someone who pretends to be ill and is not ill. Someone who tries to run away from a situation can be called a pretender. Next, the scientific study of earthquakes. What is the correct alternative? The first alternative is geology. Geology refers to earth and its study. C alternative is meteorology, which refers to like stars. Sorry, meteorology is something which refers to climate and weather. D is astronomy. The correct answer is seismology. Correct, Tamanna. Next question is a person who hates mankind. For alternatives: philanthrope, misanthrope, humanitarian, and altruist. The root word phile is for love. Anthropist, the root word is anthropos, which refers to mankind. So the first alternative is the correct one. Misanthrope would be someone who hates mankind. Humanitarian would be someone doing something good for humans, but not exactly someone who hates mankind. That's the negative alternative. Altruist would be someone who has got good hopes or thinks good about other people. 14th question is a building where grains are kept. Sir, just a moment, sir. It will be B. Yes, it is misanthrope. In 14th as well, the correct alternative is granary, where grains are stored. I came across the word granary when I was reading a little about the Harappan civilization, Indus Valley civilization. There used to be, like as it was said, those civilizations were very civilized. So there were proper water channels and like proper rooms. There used to be a granary. Great granary was one term came across when I was reading about the Harappan civilization. Okay. Next is someone who walks in sleep. Second alternative, somnambulist is the correct alternative. The word somnum refers to sleep. Insomnia is a disease, or I believe an issue with somebody sleeping is insomnia. Necroleptic is someone who readily falls asleep. D is dreamer, someone who readily dreams often, is a dreamer. Okay, a leader who appeals to popular prejudices. First is Democrat, who believes in democracy. C is diplomat. Diplomats of two countries meeting each other, or let's suppose if India and China are talked about, someone representing the Chinese government can be called a diplomat. So what would be the meaning of diplomat? Diplomat is someone who advocates the issues of a country to somebody else, can be called a diplomat. D is dictator. That's not a correct alternative. B, demagogue is the correct alternative. Next, the practice of having more than one wife. First is monogamy, polygamy, polygyny, and polyandry. Gamy refers to marriage. The first alternative, monogamy, is when someone marries just one single person. It can be like it refers to single spouse. Polygamy refers to multiple spouses. Polygyny is marrying, having, yes, what does prejudice mean? Prejudice is difference. Difference that you have inside your own self regarding some other suspicion is not an appropriate word. However, prejudice would be the differences, indifference that you have regarding some other person can be called prejudice. I came across the word prejudice with there's a novel by Jane Austen called Pride and Prejudice. So the correct alternative here is polygyny. Gyne refers to women. Andry would refer to male. So here specifically, person having the practice of having more than one wife is explained. So polygyny is the correct alternative. Okay, a person who believes in fate. What could be the correct alternative? It is clearly visible in the four options. Something which sounds a little similar with fate. Okay. Yes, fatalist is the correct alternative. Realist, someone who believes in reality. Idealist, someone who believes in ideal society, egalitarian society, we can say. The alternative, optimist, would be someone who sees the brighter side of things. Okay, one who compiles dictionaries. Author, lexicographer, editor, publisher. The alternative B is the correct one here. Lexicographer. The word lexicon is visible here. Lexicon refers to collection of words. Okay, you're correct. A place where bees are kept. 4 alternatives: aviary, apiary, aquarium and terrarium. Aviary would refer to birds. Apiary would refer to bees. That's the correct alternative. Aquarium with fish. And terrarium with terrestrial animals. You can say amphibians. Okay. I want you to know and know the plural of fish. What is the plural of fish? Okay, there are 2 plurals of fish. The plural of fish can be fish and the plural of fish can be fishes as well. The plural of fish would be fish only when same type of fishes are there. On the contrary, if the plural of fish is considered to be fishes, this would mean there's different types of fishes. Both are correct, Tamanna. The plural of fish can also be fish and can also be fishes. Okay, the next alternative here. Yes, the next question is worships of the worship of idols. Monotheism, polytheism, idolatry, atheism. Atheism would refer to someone or a belief that God doesn't exist. Polytheism would mean that there are multiple gods that exist. Monotheism would mean that there's only one single God. C alternative, idolatry, synonymous with the word idol, is the correct alternative here. Okay, one who abstains from alcohol, alcoholic drinks. The word abstain means someone who has relinquished or abdicated, someone who does not drink alcohol. This is the question exactly. First alternative is vegetarian, nope. Teetotaler is the correct alternative. Prohibitionist and abstainer. What could be the difference between teetotaler and abstainer? Abstainer would be someone who generally abstains from office, can be called someone who abstains from office, can be called an abstainer. However, specifically teetotaler would be someone who abstains from alcoholic drinks. Okay, you replied C. Prohibitionist. Okay, I am a little afraid about the pronunciation of prohibitionists. This word refers to prohibition. Prohibition is someone who prohibits from doing something. A medicine that counteracts poison. Okay, antibiotic, antidote, antiseptic, analgesic. Analgesic, something that relieves pain. Antiseptic, okay, it was for question 2. Okay, alright, I got it. 21st, I got it. Antiseptic, antidote and antibiotic. Antibiotic would deal with bacteria. Antidote is the correct alternative here. Poison and venom, venom and antidote. The antidote of venom is made out of venom. You might have heard about this. 24th, the study of human behavior, psychology, anthropology, sociology and psychiatry. Psychiatry would deal with ills pertaining to psychology. Mental diseases or mental ills would be cured with the help of psychiatry. Sociology would refer to society. Anthropology would refer to mankind. Study of mankind. Psychology is the correct alternative. Yes, it is, Tamanna. Okay. 25th alternative, a person who lives alone and avoids company. Hermit, introvert, recluse and ascetic. The words ascetic and hermit are a little synonymous. Ascetic is someone who would leave society for religious purposes. Introvert would be someone who refrains from expressing himself, wants to keep his opinions and his views to himself, is an introvert. C alternative, recluse is the correct alternative here. Recluse is the one who wants himself to be secluded in a place. Ascetic is a person who abstains, or no, not exactly abstains. Ascetic would be someone, a person who, for who the pain and pleasure both mean the same. Someone who does not recognize the difference between pain and pleasure can be called an ascetic. It would also be for religion. Okay, one who can use both hands equally well, ambiguous, ambidextrous, bilateral and versatile. Bilateral would mean between two parties. Versatile would refer to someone who's a veteran, someone who's highly skilled can be called versatile. A is ambiguous, which means doubtful. B alternative, ambidextrous is the correct alternative here. Dexter would refer to skill, and the root word ambi would mean many. Poly could be synonymous with ambi. 27th, a collection of maps, encyclopedia, atlas, almanac. Okay, directory. Encyclopedia is a knowledge bank, collection of knowledge regarding like different knowledge spheres. Atlas, a collection of maps. Yes, that's the correct alternative. Almanac is a collection, it is kind of a travelogue. Okay, D alternative, directory, just like telephone directory can be just a collection of a set of information. Killing of a king, regicide, genocide, patricide, homicide. Homicide we've discussed, there was a question earlier as well. Homicide is killing the other person. Patricide, killing one's father. B option, genocide, killing people of a particular race, of a particular type. A alternative, regicide. Regicide would mean killing of the king. That's the correct alternative. Regime and regicide. Okay, one who donates money for good causes. Benefactor, philanthropist, patron and sponsor. Now, benefactor, patron and sponsor are a little related to each other. Benefactor would be someone who donates or does something good. The root word bene is a positive root word. C alternative, patron would be a sponsor. Patron, generally, like the difference that can be between sponsor and patron would be sponsor could be someone who generally donates or gives his/her services for a brief period of time. On the contrary, patron would be someone who supports for a long period of time. Philanthropist is the correct alternative here. Philanthropist has the root word phile and anthrope. Phile means love, anthrope would mean mankind. Someone who loves mankind is the one who is going to donate money for good causes. Okay, synonym, antonym, palindrome and anagram. These are the four alternatives. The question says something which can be read as same backward and forward. Okay, C alternative, palindrome. I suppose you have studied informatics practices or CS in 11th and 12th. This was my case. I came across this word palindrome while I was studying a little about computer and computer programming. The name Naman, N-A-M-A-N, can be spelt correctly Naman even if the last letter M is spelled first. Okay, anagram is the words like rescue. The word rescue and what other word can be found with just the letters of the word rescue? Okay, you studied in 10th, palindrome, great. Secure and rescue, both words can be constructed with the same set of letters. So that's an anagram. Next, the absence of government, democracy, anarchy, monarchy and republic. Republic is when the people select the leader. Monarchy, rule of a king. Democracy, government of the people and by the people. B alternative, anarchy is the correct alternative here when there is no government present. Heard about the word anarchy? Okay, anarchist. Anarchist is the one that I came across. Anarchist is someone who, it can be a set of people or just one person who wants to tone the rule down, tone the government down from of a state. One who pretends to be ill to avoid work. Okay, invalid, patient, hypochondriac and malingerer. B alternative, hypochondriac refers to diseases, can be a little related with ills, but hypochondriac would be someone who is under constant fear that he is ill. That's hypochondriac. The first alternative, melingerer, is the correct alternative here. Someone who pretends to be ill just to avoid work. Okay. Next alternative, next question, a person appointed to settle disputes. Judge, arbitrator, mediator, and referee. Referee is present to judge between two teams. Mediator. Let's suppose two people fight. There's a fight that's there in your school, in your class specifically. Two parties are fighting, then there's one common friend who comes up and wants to settle the issue. So can be called a mediator. B alternative, arbitrator is the correct alternative. Judge would simply judge. Like settlement of disputes would not be there. The difference between arbitrator and mediator could be that mediator can also felicitate conversation or felicitate communication. B alternative, arbitrator is the correct one, and the judgment or the discussion or the rule which has been passed by the arbitrator is compulsory and it should be obeyed. The art of beautiful handwriting, typography, typographical error, if you've used it, typographical error, typos, calligraphy, stenography, and orthography. Okay. Calligraphy is the correct alternative. Next question. One who criticizes popular beliefs. Skeptic, iconoclast, cynic, and pessimist. Pessimist, someone who sees the dark side of things. Cynic, someone who is generally suspicious of all the things that are around him. Skeptic and cynic can be a little similar to each other. Skeptic would be the person who is a little suspicious about one thing or about a certain thing. Iconoclast is the correct alternative here. Heard about the word rebel or renegade? Rebel, renegade can be a little synonymous or a little similar with the word iconoclast. Next, a remedy that relieves pain. Antibiotic, analgesic, antiseptic, and anesthesia, something which is used for hallucination. If some doctor is operating on a patient and the patient is grieving in pain, then anesthesia is given. Okay, no, D is not, yes. Anesthetic is not the correct alternative here. Analgesics. You might have heard about diclofenac. Diclofenac is an analgesic, something that relieves pain for a period of time. Okay. The study of ancient civilizations through artifacts. Anthropology, mankind, study of mankind. Archaeology is the correct alternative here. History and geology are different things. One who shows off his learning. Scholar. Scholar is someone who is highly knowledgeable, someone who's got read largely about things. Okay, great. The next alternative is pedant. I see that you've typed B multiple times. Pedant is the correct alternative. Someone who readily corrects people's grammar is sort of facing grammar pedantic syndrome. This is one word, like this is one phrase for a person. A person who believes nothing can be known about God. Atheist would be someone who does not believe that God exists. Theist would be someone who believes in God. Believer is believer. Agnostic is the correct one, who does not, a person who believes nothing can be known about God. We cannot know more, like we cannot know about God. The practice of marrying within one's own group. Exogamy, the word gamy refers to marriage. Monogamy, polygamy. The word endogamy is the correct alternative here. Exogamy would mean marrying someone out of your own group, one's own group. Cool. 41st, one who travels from place to place. Tourist, nomad, itinerant, and wanderer. Okay, itinerant is the correct alternative. You're correct. Nomad would be someone who travels from place to place, who roams around. Gypsy, nomad can be gypsy, vagabond can be synonyms of the word nomad. Okay, a system of government by officials, democracy, bureaucracy, autocracy, and theocracy. Theocracy is government by people of the church. Theocracy is government by group of people from the church. Autocracy, government by your own government if you believe in it. Democracy, people, bureaucracy is the correct alternative. Okay, the branch of medicine dealing with children. Geriatrics, pediatrics, psychiatry, gynecology. Gynecology has the root word gyn, which refers to women. The correct alternative is pediatrics. Do you know what is the meaning of geriatrics and what is this branch of deals with? What does geriatrics deal with? It deals with germs, I believe. Okay, you can comment if I'm correct after the session. Okay, one who loads and unloads ships. Sailor, who sails. Docker, who works at the dock. Sea porter, who transports goods from one place to another. D, stevedore is the correct alternative. Next, a person who regards the world with suspicion. Okay, skeptic is suspicious. Critic is someone who presents with criticism. Pessimist would be someone who sees the dark side of things. The first alternatives, cynic is correct. I believe we have discussed cynic and skeptic earlier as well. Okay. Next, the study of stamps. Numismatics, philately, bibliography and cartography. Cartography, cartographer. Cartography would refer to maps. Bibliography would refer to the word bibliography has the root word biblio, Bible, books, study of books. Philately is the correct alternative here. Numismatics is love for the collection of coins and different currencies. One who foretells the future, prophet, astrologer, soothsayer, and all of these. Prophet and prophecy, astrologer, astrology, soothsayer. All of these three are correct. Now, astrologer would look at the stars and the planets and predict future. Prophet and soothsayer, both prophet would mean is used for someone who is kind of a supreme, who knows the present, the past and the future. Okay, next, a medicine that induces sleep. Stimulant, sedative, tonic and antibiotic. Tonic and sedative. Sedative is the correct alternative here, something that induces sleep. Cool. One who renounces worldly pleasures, hermit, ascetic, monk and celibate. Okay, celibate is someone who has, who admonishes pleasure. Monk, ascetic, hermit. Ascetic is the correct alternative here, who doesn't know the difference between pain and pleasure. And yes, you're correct. The last alternative, the last question, the scientific study of the origin of words. Grammar, etymology, phonetics and semantics. Semantics is word study. Phonetics is study of how to pronounce certain words. Grammar deals with language, and the word etymology is the correct alternative here, the scientific study of the origin of words. This was a set of 50 one-word substitutions that can be helpful from the perspective of your examination. One-word substitutions is an important part of vocabulary and can really help you in your Ipmat. Thank you so much for joining me today.